Hello, this is Ultra Airsoft Brant, and I'm bringing you another video from Florida. And it's been over a year since I've given you any type of video. It's been a while. And as you can see, I have changed a lot too. Plus, I have let my hair grow out and really gone half wild. But let's get back to the actual thing we're here for. Now I have here was the M4 Tactical Viper from Black Ops Airsoft. The reason I say was is because it no longer has any of its traditional parts. I'm just kidding. I have a few optics thrown on there, and I have an extended barrel with a mock silencer. And I've added some tape for just camouflage, or to black it out completely, and just for grip alone. I will show you some of the parts that I have taken off. These are the parts I had removed from this gun in order to make it better, because utterly these were just nuisances and they really sucked. Now I'm starting from the top. The orange flash hider. That actually does screw off for any of you who are having problems screwing it off. It screws off counterclockwise, so if you were to open a bottle of Dr. Pepper, reverse and go the other way. That's how you would take that off. And they super glued the shit out of it, so it'll take some work. Next is the triangle front sight. It wasn't a bad sight. It's alright. But it's hard to get any optics on there. Especially the scope I have on my gun right now. And the red dot sight barely fit over that. And then next was the gas tube. With the RIS rails and the way this airsoft weapon is made, that is what holds the IRS rails in place, along with a few other things, so they don't spin freely. What this does is it connects from the front end of the gun, well, front end being from right there, where the delta ring is, to inside the gas block, which would be right there. Alright, and then last but I hate the most is the rear sight this comes with. This gun is the second generation of the line of the M4 Viper. Instead of having the carry handle sight, you have a flip-up sight, which is cheaply made. You can adjust for windage, but here's the problem. This is too tall to line up with this. It is just too tall and too inaccurate. It is horrible, horrible, horrible. So that's why I had to get new optics for it. Now, with this second gen, with it being second gen, it came with RIS rails instead of having the regular hand guards. It has 4 sides, and it comes in handy when you put stuff on there. Now you may notice it is at a weird angle, and that is because I have a scope on here. Now the scope, I've converted this to a DMR of sorts. If you don't know what that means Designated Marksman Rifle. Pretty much like an in-between between assault and sniper. Alright? And I figured when I took out this gas line, it just spun. It didn't really spin freely, but I could actually manipulate it and turn it. And it would hold in place, or unless you put more force, it would go even further. It would still hold in place though. But it does have a little bit of a wiggle. So I took advantage to that, and I turned it at an angle so I can have my NC Star red dot sight on the side in case I get any close battles. I have my scope there, and then I have my red dot sight. Now I'm going to go to the front end of the gun. Alright, I have a barrel extension I just put in this night. Now it's still under testing as it belonged to an actual sniper rifle, but the ending of it seemed to be almost close to identical of the M4 barrels. I'm sorry, it's 1 in the morning, kind of tired. And so, but it fits snug enough to where it won't fly out of the outside barrel, and since it being nighttime, I can't really test fire. But I have created a mock silencer out of some PVC pieces, and I just electrical taped that to make it black. Because who wants a giant white piece sticking out of the gun? That's going to show everybody where you are. Honestly, it does not get in the way. It's straight. It's perfect. Well, not perfect, I mean. But it just slides right on and right off. And no, you actually have to put force to take it off, so it's not very easy. Alrighty. And those are the 3 upgrades, well 4 technically, that I have added to this gun from it being stock. Now, I have taped the magazine that it comes with. It comes with a 300 round magazine that is, you have to wind up. As you can see, the winding wheel is right there. Now this is a giant piece of silver that sticks out of a black gun. That stands out pretty well, even in dusk time of days. So I electrical tape that. And also, with most M4 weapons I've seen, when you have your stock clip, it actually gets a little bit of wobble inside of the mag well. Well, I've seen tips and I've heard stories that you can actually tape it up a little bit up here, right where it ends at the mag well, and it'll help keep it from wiggling, which so far has worked. Just don't want to do it too much or it won't fit inside the gun. Okay, next I'm going to talk about the features of this weapon. It has a standard buttstock. There is actually a cheek riser that the 2nd generation comes with, but I had to take that off in order to use optics. But if you have optics that rise, it's good to use, because it's a lot more comfortable than resting your cheek on a giant round platform. It's actually kind of triangular and molds to your face. It's really nice. And then you have a metal buffer tube, which is, it's alright. It's pretty decent. But most part, this is just a polymer frame. The important pieces are metal, which is very good. Alright, then I'm going to move to the body. The body has a selector switch of 3 positions: safe, semi, and auto. And quad burst. I'm just joking. It's only auto and semi and safe. Alright, and that's fully functioning. Alright, and it comes with a very good textured grip. Now, I got tired of the grip because the trigger guard right here cuts into my finger up there. And it also puts pressure on my fingers down here. So what I did is I electrical taped the base of this handle, which added width to it. It made it a lot more comfortable to handle. Now, this bolt catch actually does work. I'll show you that in a minute. Or not bolt catch, but I can't remember the name. I'll come back to it in a minute. This is actually the bolt catch, as a matter of fact. Right here, this piece. And that's not functioning at all. It's just there for looks, which I don't really care. Only gas blowbacks, I think, need that. That comes out when you release the magazine. I'll show you that in a minute. Now here's the delta ring, right here. You pull that out, or you pull it this way, and you can release your RIS res. And that's how you get to the battery compartment, which is very annoying. I'd rather have it in the back in the stock like most AEGs, but about 20% of them have it in the handguard. And then you have a metal outer barrel, and then the stock barrel, which would be here, is actually a 6.08 type, not type bore, but bore barrel. Very inaccurate, but accurate enough to play. Alright, and then I'm going to switch to the other side. Okay, so basically everything's the same over here, except a few things I'll show. It does have a metal trigger right down here, but the trigger guard is not metal, it is a cheap plastic. Well, not really cheap, but it's plastic. Alright, Now, it does have a forward assist, but it is non-functioning. Does not work at all, does completely nothing. It doesn't even push forward or have a spring in it. Now, this is the bolt handle, I believe. Could be wrong. Doesn't sound right to me, though. Pull it back, and you release the dust cover. Now, this is an electric blowback weapon. Unfortunately for me, the spring that when you pull this backwards broke, so it no longer goes forward. That's why the bolt never went forward. Let's see. Well, it does make it easier to access the hop-up, which you can't really see too well, but it's in there. And it's a very good hop-up. It's pretty decent. And I've disassembled and reassembled it a few times, as a matter of fact. And it's alright. Could get a better one, though. And that's basically all the features on here. I'll tell you what I've shot, and it's with the stock barrel. It's decent. It's all right. I've gotten some range up to probably 50 feet is the max I could actually hit with a good grouping. At about 70 feet, if I just sprayed and kind of aimed at something, it'll hit a few times. Now, when I try out this new barrel I threw in tomorrow, it'll be wonderful. I did the poor man's chrono, which is you get a Coke can and you shoot in certain areas to figure out its max velocity. And I got about, with .20 gram BBs, I got about 330 to 350 FPS. Probably on the lower end of 330. Alright? So it's a pretty decent weapon. And it's, overall, for my first AEG, I'm very happy when I first got it. I'm still happy now. I'm going to go over, actually, the scope in the red dot sight. But first, I'm going to go over red dot. The red dot is actually very good. It's by NC Star. And I got it for $10. $10 in this sight is just absolutely amazing. You have your left and right adjustment knob right there. And then on the other side, or on the rear, you have your up and down knob right there. And that comes in handy. And when you first get it, it may wobble on the top up here. That's because the up and down knob is sent for up. You have to roll it back down to down, and it'll actually hold it down. And so it's very nice. Okay, here's the red dot sight. It is pretty decent. It's got a bright light in the daytime. Not in the daytime, it's not bright, but it's enough to use. But dusk, dark, it's very, very bright. And it does not reflect at all. So you can hide and use this red dot sight as much as you want. Alright, now this scope is actually a cheap little, I think, Crossman scope. It's meant for a .22 long rifle. But I plan on getting a bigger scope in the near future. And it's actually a 4x15. So 4x15. 4x15, I guess is how you'd put it. It's pretty much the same magnification of an ACOG, except a little bit further and a lot smaller. Well, thinner, I should say. ACOG gained some weight and got short. But, yes. It's worked out. It's actually really good. If you have a Walmart near you, I'd suggest picking this up. It's really decent. Especially for your first scope. If it's only $5 or something like that. $5 to $10. I can't remember what. But it's nice. It'll work. Now with this scope, when I was using the stock barrel earlier, when I was using the iron sights, I could only hit stuff up to, what did I say, like 50 feet. When I threw this scope on, I was actually able to see my my BBs fly and see where they went, so I could adjust. And with this scope, I was able to hit something from 100 yards away about 3 out of 6 times. So about 50% of the time I hit the target, which was a stop sign from 100 feet away. And that's really decent, especially for this gun being stock when it was stock. So yeah, it's been a year, so hope I still can make a good video. I will be posting this pretty soon. Well, no shit. So comment, like, subscribe, and rate. Well, wait, nobody rates anymore. That was like 4 years ago. Man, I'm old. Goodbye.